the history. That primary numbers, primary activities have no correlation. They're not predictive at all for the general election. So, for instance, taking a race you know well, then candidate Clinton, Governor Clinton, was in third place at this point in time. And everyone was screaming about his brand. In the last go-around, the Democrats were whining about their long process. The New York Times had a headline that the Democratic process, the primary process going on so long, was a gift to McCain. Well, look how Clinton won and McCain lost. So the history of this is that short primaries aren't necessarily better and long primaries aren't necessarily bad. It's just quite the opposite, as a matter of fact. So I would just start with that. The notion that whatever it looks like today, the Republican field looks like today, that it's going to remain looking that way in the general. The Romney campaign used a horrifically unfortunate turn of phrase yesterday, etch-a-sketch, but that really is what happens. It does reset. The other notion that is misleading out there is that the enthusiasm on the Republican side is down by virtue of measuring the wrong templates, starting with turnout. Turnout is never going to be high in states that aren't having primaries. We changed our processes in many states, so we're just having caucuses, or we're having beauty contests. Well, caucuses, more people have better things to do with their life than participate in a beauty contest, and only the activists turn out for caucuses, so that's not a fair reading of enthusiasm. And enthusiasm is better measured by registration, which is up among Republicans and down among Democrats. So all of this is to say, the Republican versus the Democrat, the challenger versus incumbent President Obama are going to be, after the conventions, exactly where this country is, which is pretty much 50-50. But presidential races are always for an incumbent are always a referendum on the incumbent. So the advantage has in history gone to the incumbent, but there are more than a few that have been defeated. So that's looking forward to the general. Shaping up on the Republican side, Newt and everything I just said is, James would fight with me about it, but he knows it's true. On the Republican side, he just cannot tell enough jokes about our field and how wacky it is, and he really misses Michelle Bachmann, and he said, he was using a new joke the other day that Mitt Romney kept asking Santorum to pull out, and he said, no, that would be birth control. So he's got a new joke every day about it. But I'll say again, everybody looks weak in the primary. And I think the narrative that this is a weak field has some basis in reality, but it has a lot of basis in who didn't run. Everybody was waiting for Mitch Daniels or waiting for Jeb Bush, who endorsed Romney yesterday. So the point of campaigns is the messenger is important, but particularly in this time and the problems that we have, and the enthusiasm of the electorate, the intensity, let me use that word, the electorate, is augurs for a well-debated and competitive race. That just is what it is. Romney is, I'm hard-pressed to see how, though they vowed to, that Newt and Santorum are going to deny Mitt Romney the 1,144 delegates that he needs. You have to have this process also requires having organizational capacity to actually get delegates slated on the ballot. So Santorum, when he was ahead, didn't even have delegates slated in Tennessee or Ohio. In Illinois, he had 2/3 of the districts who didn't have delegates in the Romney, or the requisite number of signatures to get the delegates, and the Romney campaign challenged it, and then they dropped the challenge. So, you just can't keep going on like that. Newt's not polling anywhere. We have our elections this weekend in Louisiana. We're going to elect half our delegates, and they're not properly slated everywhere. So it's another literally meaningless contest that the media is going to infuse with meaning, and we don't even really pick our committed delegates till sometimes down the line. So the state of the race is, it's a long answer, I'm not paying attention to my time, is it's going to go on for a while till Romney accumulates his 1,144 delegates. I don't think that's a bad thing. Many people in my party think it is a bad thing. Went on George Snuffleupagus' show, it's a good column in our house, and just wrote a piece on this about what are the good things about having a long process. And Haley Barbour went on TV this week and said anybody who thinks it's been good for the party needs to have their head examined. So the headline was, Haley calls pundit kooky. Crazy. So that's sort of the general state of the race.